This nibble originally aired on RSBANDB Update, episode 823, Waves of Spring. Enjoy. I think we can move on from the Spring Festival now to the PyMS combat fixes that everybody has been chomping at the bit for. So starting off with this, the area loot interface now no longer closes when walking around. It will periodically update while walking around or when an NPC drops loot, and it also closes itself after moving more than 10 tiles since it last updated. And finally, auto-retaliate is no longer disabled while the area loot interface is open.
Cha-ching. Dude, there's your Slayer fix, man. It's great. It's updating as the monsters are moving. You can kind of move around a little bit, and every time you do, it doesn't go away.
And you can attack.
I
don't know. It's just...
This is good.
I've never been moved by Slayer, and I still felt that way after giving it a try recently. So, I don't know what the issue is.
Maybe you haven't gotten, I don't know, maybe your typical luck hasn't shown through when it comes to Slayer.
Well, it has with Clue Scrolls, remember, a couple weeks back.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true.
There's also a new unlock available for Moor's Retreat, which will reset ability cooldowns when using the Altar of War. That makes sense.
Seems like a big deal, but I don't
well,
know.
Yeah, it is, because, anytime you have abilities that are... and I don't know if you're going to be going... Unless you're doing something, I think, like a Telos, and you have an ability that's on a 2-minute cooldown and you come back, that would make sense. I don't think there are many 5-minute ability cooldowns that the PVMers use that much. But I'm thinking that, hey, I mean, even if you're going off and you were doing Slayer or something and you wanted to make this your new banking hub and you use that little ice crystal thing to heal yourself, this is a good option with that too. Because that thing has a 5-minute cooldown.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So... That's a positive, and it doesn't even have to be for PVM. I think it's just all combat. No. Players are also no longer able to use the Zaros Godsword special attack if a different one is already active. Seems like a bit of an oversight, but we'll take it.
Well, but I'm wondering if that can apply to you remember the new item that holds special
Essence
attack?
of Finality.
Yeah, the Essence of Finality. I wonder.
Yeah, I'd say that probably had some impact on that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Now here's a big one. Revolution Combat Mode will now fire off abilities more consistently after a channeled ability is used, bringing it in line with full manual mode. Of course, channeled abilities means that your character is focused on finishing that ability before it can do anything else. Now, one of these abilities that we're talking about is something like Asphyxiate. And I never noticed this, but maybe I don't use it enough. And I'm sure this would be a night and day change for anybody who was aware of this.
Well, but what amazed me when I saw this was I was like, oh, that's been around for so long. And then 2 words flashed through my mind. Known issue.
Yeah.
Yep, it probably has been floating around
and it's a question
forever.
And it's just a question of being able to allocate the time to fix it, and if it's a little bit obscure, making sure that the fix isn't going to break anything else.
I mean, I guess that's the key with all of these Revolution changes, but they're all nice. And this one is one that has been out there for a really long time, and I'm surprised that I would have thought that this did raise to a higher priority level, but it's fixed. That's cool.
You can now adjust the size of the buff and debuff bar icons on desktop.
That's really cool too.
Yeah, and it's not a massive change, but it's just enough to kind of influence your experience. And we'll have a look at this.
I mean, it could be if you can't make it. It could be, because yes, we could already move them around, but you couldn't really make it bigger. You could resize the box, but you couldn't like resize the things, and that can be hard to see.
Yeah,
even under magnification. So I actually think
I need to get something out here
really
that
cool.
has a timer on it. I'm actually going to pop an aura because that's going to be the easiest way to go about this. And one of the things with auras is that right now their text appears in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. But if you use interface scaling, as I do sometimes, it's a little bit hard to read. But if you actually go up to medium icon size, it makes the text on these buff bars a whole lot easier to read. So this is a good change, but if you go to the largest buff bar size, icon size, that's all fine and dandy. But if there's a timer on one of the buffs, that timer appears right in the middle of the icon, and you can't see what the icon is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's no bueno.
Yeah. So, to me, large is not usable.
Okay.
Because you can't even see what the icon is. You got to pretty much just either settle for small, which is what we had, or medium, as I'm going to say, the happy medium. Because, I mean, sure, if you're using buffs that don't have timers on them, then by all means go for large. But if you're going to go for large, just be aware that if your thing has a timer on it, it's gonna have a negative effect. And let me make sure it's just not auras. I'm going to pop a potion here as well, because that's something that we need to just be 100% clear on with this.
I mean, there must be a reason why they moved it there, but something that I just want to caution people on is, the concept of visual clutter, and when it's layered like that, it can be really hard to differentiate.
Yeah, I just popped a holy overload, and both icons it gave me for that, the prayer renewal and the overload, have the text right in the middle of them. So you can see that, there's prayer stars behind one and then the potion behind the other, but you're going to have to still mouse over them to figure out what they are, and you can't see it at a glance, whereas if you go to medium, that won't be much of a problem at all. Medium is actually very nice. So I just wanted to make that note because, yes, this is a good feature and it's nice to have, but just be aware about large icon sizes.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it being on top of there. I'm like, that was a good call, Shane.
Yep. All right. Dragon Breath will now prioritize your main target before performing the usual area of effect attack.
See, that was another one that's been around for a long time. So
and I guess it would just... update. What would it do before?
I mean, it just hit... I'm not... hit everything as far as I know. Like, it wasn't prioritized like that. Like, it might have hit the thing that wasn't directly in front of you for the harder hit, I believe.
Oh, and you don't want that.
You don't want that.
You can find full episodes of RSBANDB Update right here on this YouTube channel. If you found this video useful or just enjoyed it, like and subscribe, or leave a comment.